Disney again sits on the precipice of another failure. That's right, Culturians. We have to talk about Fantastic Four and it truly being the harbinger of Disney dread. For good reason. The Doom project is just sitting out there without a completed script, but still shooting, likely setting up hundreds of millions of dollars worth of losses. And why can I say this so enthusiastically and with nary a waver in the confidence of my speech? Because it suffered another dismal Disney drop this weekend, and we've got to talk about it. So, here we go! Now, before we get started, here's just a quick reminder. You, Culturians, are leading the day. That's right. So double check you're still subscribed to the channel. If you're not, click the little red button, turn it to gray, and become one of the amazing subscribers here, absolutely free. You can also do something extraordinary and turn on all the notifications so you don't miss anything. I make tons of content for information and entertainment purposes each and every day, so make sure you don't miss any. And hit that thumbs up button while you're down there. It does help the channel. In fact, any interaction of any kind, including your comments on the video below, will help dramatically, and I would truly appreciate it. Now, let's talk about what I've dubbed the Fantastic Four. Coming from our friends over at World of Real, Jordan Roomie gives us something to contemplate. A 60% drop for the last weekend. That's right, Fantastic Four continues downward spiral with 60% drop, a $15 million third weekend. That's pretty dismal. That is not good. That is embarrassingly bad. It is behind the performance chart of Superman in a big way. And you know what? This film has been behind from the very beginning, including Behind the Dinosaurs, which is also embarrassing. Stop the count. The Fantastic Four First Steps continues to stumble at the box office. Well, all of us probably realized that was going to happen. Those Pedro Pascal walk-ups aren't happening. No, this guy is not an opener for a movie. He's never opened anything. He is a marginal character actor at best, and outside of a couple of great scenes in Game of Thrones, has never really delivered on almost anything he's been in, with the small exception of Narcos on Netflix. I wouldn't even know this guy was a thing. The film struggled to make $4 million on Friday here domestically from roughly 3,600 theaters. That's an embarrassing number of people coming out to see this. It nudged its domestic tally up to about $219 million, but it's nothing to scream about internationally either. Fantastic Four might not even hit $270 million domestic and $500 million global, and that will and truly have marked the point at which it had lost over $100 million. Yes, you heard me right. This film will likely lose well over $100 million. Potentially up to 200, depending upon what we find out about the actual total for the marketing spend. Odds are that much like Marvel's other 2025 releases, Thunderbolts and Brave New World, this one might lose money. No, it's definitely going to lose money, Jordan, as did Thunderbolts, which Disney actually admitted was a failure in the recent earnings call, and Brave New World, which was, well, definitely going to be a failure. And as Jordan points out, at first glance, these numbers might seem modestly respectable, but the underlying reality paints a much more troubling picture for Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige's once dominating empire. Except, I'll stop you right there, Jordan, and jump on the fact that this really wasn't Kevin Feige's enterprise. It was essentially Ike Perlmutter's until sometime after Endgame. And at that point, Kevin had wrested control and somehow gotten Ike removed in that whole window of events and began installing the structure of the gynocentric Marvel. That's right, taking the boy properties that Disney acquired for that reason and turning them into girl properties, just like it had been done with Star Wars. And look at where Star Wars is now. For months leading up to the release, people believed Fantastic Four was well positioned to be one of the summer's stronger launches. Not this guy, but some people can be wrong. The film benefited from a relatively open release window, and yet in a year filled with a string of underwhelming MCU entries, audiences might simply be done with them. And you know what? I think you're right, Jordan. This is probably the number one explanation. People are tired of paying for subpar Marvel films. In fact, they don't want to pay for them anymore. They actually believe that it's going to save them money if they just wait a month and catch it on Disney Minus, which, to be fair, has not been providing entertainment in any other way. And to be more than fair, I'm not even sure this is entertainment. And Jordan comes to reality here, saying the truth is the MCU is fading. The multiverse is starting to unravel, and the fallout is now visible in the box office numbers. Well, it had been coming for a long time. People like myself had been pointing it out. It has an occasional uptick with good things that are usually not related to Kevin Feige, like Deadpool and Wolverine, or perhaps a Spider-Man movie. Those things seem to do fine despite the fact they still have the name Marvel on them. And there's a reason. People can expect good quality films out of, well, those particular managers of the property. But not from Disney. Disney is a disaster zone, and nearly everything they put out is said disaster. It's only with a massive amount of cudgel that they're able to make Pixar things acceptable again. And it's only with listening to the creators who put characters together in the first place that they can bring light to a live-action animation, such as Lilo and Stitch. The minute they deviate from the healthy family perspective, well, you get disaster. And that's the problem Bob Iger doesn't understand. And it's also something that Forbes called out Bob Iger for, labeling him a one-quarter Eisner. And I agree. And Jordan points out that you can't blame it on bad reviews. Unlike Captain America, Brave New World, Fantastic Four, and Thunderbolts were given high marks by a lot of shills, but it's true. In fact, almost more than any other MCU movie this decade. However, the broader audience has checked out. Hi, I'm part of the broader audience, and I'm a harsh critic. And I do disregard Disney entirely because of, well, Bob Iger, his poor leadership, and all the poor leaders that he put in positions of power who have agendas that don't align with the general populace, who are the people that you need to go to your movies so you can make money. Any investors listening to me? Because you have bigger problems than Disney, although it's a pretty big problem. You have basically anything that Larry Fink touches. For Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios, the future is uncertain. After years of near invincible dominance, the cracks are visible. A string of underperformances could be putting his job in danger, and I say good. Normally, I would never root for anybody to lose their gig, except when they're doing an absolutely terrible job and are only remaining in it because of somebody else's wonderful performance before he even got the job. Kevin Feige isn't a mastermind. In fact, they pointed that out in the terrible show She-Hulk on Disney Minus. This is a man who does not have complete scripts before he starts shooting, so how he got greenlit in the first place is still boggling my mind. Kevin Feige is no more a studio head than Kathleen Kennedy. Both marked failures, and both have basically destroyed any IP that they've touched. At least recently, anyway. But hey, those are my reactions and my thoughts to another 60% dump over another weekend, the third weekend, of a film that had to be a home run. So what are your thoughts? You've got mine. Audience participation time in the comments section down below. Is Marvel just over? Is Feige just over? Is Disney just over? Or any other things you can think of. As always, be sure to take care of yourself, take care of others, and until next time, see ya! Maybe with a better movie.